Today, we are going to make some grass. No, I'm not in Colorado, so it's not going to be that kind of grass. It's our techniques that are so simple and sensible, your mowers have practically built themselves.
Hello folks, it's Mad Dog Merv and welcome to today's show. Today we've got the end of the year show, kind of going over what we did and some of the fun things and the highlights of 2023. And we're going to be looking forward into some of the things I plan on doing in 2024. So, Happy New Year everybody, and let's check out Mad Dog Merv's end of the year show.
To start out with, the Kit Hoarder Stash, we reviewed a lot of different items, a huge variety from resin ships to artillery pieces and armor pieces, lots of those. We had a few aircraft, including a jet, which I have not reviewed. Well, I haven't built a jet in quite some time, but I've got more coming. We did some figures, which I actually built quite a few, and I built these guys somewhere along the line this year. This kind of a weird, odd thing in 35th scale, fruits and vegetables. We reviewed this, and eventually I'll get around to building them. And this apocalyptic tank, I just couldn't resist. It's not something I'd normally do, but the opportunity was there, and it was a fun review. Remember, we reviewed a bunch of cars. One of them was this 33 Willys kit, this old kit on the stash, and I promptly decided to go ahead and get it built. So, tried to do this black cherry and green, sublime green look, and not too bad. We still have to finish detailing the engine though, and we'll show you how that turns out later this year. There was this kit that I picked up off of Amazon for like $15. We reviewed it, and I decided to go ahead and paint it with just Testors black bottle paint to show you how I do that, and it turned out great. This was a fun build, great car to get. One of the funnest things that I did this year was I interviewed my friend Rob Humphreys. I call him the world's most interesting modeler. And at one time he held the Guinness Book of World Record for the amount of built model airplanes. He used to work for the Utah State Highway Patrol. Previous to that, he was an Air Force pilot. Just right after Vietnam, but he does dabble in a bit of Western history. He goes out on the desert a lot. He is a fantastic individual. Check out that show if you haven't seen it. So on the What's in the Box, one of the fun ones that I did was going through some of my trains. This one here is one of my Rio Grande trains that I have. Here was one of my SP Daylights that we went through. There was a bunch of other stuff we did on What's in the Box. Go back and check them out. There's some fun stuff in there. So, of course, there's lots of car builds, and in particular Mustang builds. This one, very rare purple color that came out for a couple of years on the Mustang, and that was a very fun build to research and do. And this one we need to finish up this year, which we will, and that's the 70 Baldwin Motion Camaro. Another real fun build was to build this hero car from the movie Supernatural, and the figures, which I got from Iceman Collections. They're resin, and we built this for my daughter. Gave it to her for her birthday, and she was absolutely thrilled with it. She's a big Supernatural fan, and it was a fun build. It was quick and easy, turned out pretty good. Speaking of Supernatural type stuff, here we go. Dragula. This was one that I had picked up. We reviewed it, and then I promptly went about building it so it could be part of the collection. Definitely a fun little kit. And speaking of cars, we did a tutorial on how I simulate rust. We actually did a couple of tutorials on that. If you haven't seen them, please check them out in my tips and tricks section. Tanks, you're welcome. Built a bunch of tanks this year. Again, lots of fun. This 150-ton Japanese tank, that was a very fun build and fun to put on display at MRS this year. And then my T-28 with the 155 millimeter gun. We reviewed the kit and then went ahead and built it in this configuration. Got my Fury figures put on it. My T10 E3 that came from SS Models. This is 3D printed. First time building a 3D printed tank. I think it turned out pretty good, and SS Models definitely is a company that's up and coming. They have some great pieces. Please check them out. Great deals on eBay. Built this T78, which is basically an M47 turret on an M41 chassis. That was kind of an interesting little thing. Again, for my World of Tanks collection. Turned out pretty good, and it was a quick and easy build. Oh, yeah, the KV5. The Gronoish, I don't know, anyway, Dragon that we did the scales on. This was a real fun build to do this year. And along with that, this little figure that comes with the kit, went ahead and built him up, painted him up, quick and easy, just a nice little fun diorama. Goes great around Halloween or, any old time. But again, this was a lot of fun, and isn't that what modeling's about? There was this, which is this the T78? I can't remember. Anyway, this is an M24 chassis with a M18, with a Jackson turret from the game World of Tanks. Here's a Mutant 6 that I had been working on for over a year. Got this finished finally for my World of Tanks collection. And then for the monster tanks that they have, here is my, I call it the bog monster, but the bog creature, whatever, from that collection. Again, this is a real fun project. We ended up the year working on ships, and mostly what I was doing is repairing some of my old ships that I'd worked on over the past few years. Making some repairs, doing some updates, doing things like making these really neat looking name tags for them. Just, having a good time catching up on some of my ship things that I needed to do. And speaking of good time, we added to our family here at the doghouse. Here's Cruella, my puppy that I got back in May. She's a blue heeler border collie mix, and she is a high energy fireball. Fun little puppy, loves to play ball, and she's getting huge. We also introduced you to Gypsy. She came to visit a couple of times this year. However, due to some circumstances, she's going to be with me permanently now. She's a husky and shepherd mix. She's beautiful, loving, and just an overall sweet dog. And as you can see, sometimes they take over the entire living room. These guys. But they are a lot of fun. I wouldn't trade them for the world. So sometimes we get out of the house, and here's a time when I went and looked at a barn find. This is a V6 somebody had put in an MG Midget. Pretty neat looking. It was fun to go and investigate this. No lights in that barn whatsoever. Speaking of investigations, I went to the site of the old Las Vegas rail terminal, rail depot. That was a lot of fun, and there's more Vegas adventures coming up. This Halloween really went overboard doing all of these decorations for the front yard. Those aliens, if you haven't seen that, check out pretty much anything I did in October. It was full of all kinds of fun stuff. And then, of course, for Christmas, we had the little office tree that we put up. So lots of fun this year. It really was a great modeling year for Mad Dog Merv. So there were a few other things, but we're going to get into my plans for 2024. And let's hope that 2024 is a good year for all of us, but let's hope it's good for our channel. So to start out, there's a junkyard with Mustangs in it that I haven't shown you guys yet. I'm going to try and get back in there and investigate the rest of what's in there. They've got about 15 or 20 I've already documented. We'll see what else there is. Bring that to you folks. Of course, there's going to be more Mustang builds on the channel. I'm going to try and replicate this orange GTCS here in one of the builds this year. We're going to do some aircraft. We're going to try to finish up that B-25 that we started earlier this year. Hopefully we'll be able to get that done this year, as well as the jet and maybe a few other things. We've got some ships coming up for sure. We're going to update you on what I've done with the Vestal. I've done even more with it than last time you saw it. And of course, here is my California and my Tennessee in Pearl Harbor fit that, well, you can see they're all torn down, but I've been working on them, getting them back into shape, and we're going to follow along with that. And we're going to get out and see more of this beautiful state of Utah, get down to Las Vegas some more, and who knows where else we will go this year, but I'm sure we'll have some fun in 24. So thanks for joining us, folks. Happy New Year, and stay tuned for lots of fun.